So what do you think then are some of the success stories that you have from family businesses?
Oh man, it's a spectrum. Um, the one I use as my quote unquote greatest success story was a family business with um, a man that was running a business. He had 3 kids, 2 boys in, and one the daughter was out. And it's a long story, but essentially the one son who was extremely bright, top scores, top grades, top everything, went to the top school, but he was the kind of guy that had great ideas, but couldn't show up to work on time, couldn't finish a project, didn't want to take orders from anybody, so on and so forth. We ended up going through a process of helping him come to the realization that he really didn't want to be doing this. So we got him out of the business, met with the owner and got one of the employees to say, look, he works for me. The only reason I haven't fired him is because he's your kid. And, I can't fire your kid. But if it were up to me, I would have fired him a long time ago. So he kind of emotionally went through that. We dismissed his child. He's now doing a career that he's very happy with, making more money, so on and so forth. And then the other son's here, very diligent, very bright also, but he was not sure that he really wanted to take this thing on because of the hours involved and the amount of work that was involved to do this business. And so we took him through a process of adding on a whole new division to this company that is much more profitable. And he ran this whole thing. He started this whole thing. Now he's become super qualified to run the business. To such point that at the end of the year, we were making some plans and reorganizing some things. And it just came up going, well, if so-and-so is going to do that, then he can't report to me, the dad. He's going to have to report to my son. And if he's going to report to my son, then he's going to have to be president. And so it naturally transitioned. It just perfectly and beautifully transitioned. And to cap it off, the son that had left, because of this new division they're in, he's now coming back into the business, and the 2 brothers are going to be working together. So it took a number of years, but it's doing great.
Well, that's the point. And so, what are some, would you say, are the unique characteristics of family businesses that people should pay attention to?
Oh boy. It comes down, it boils down to the family. People ask me, what makes family businesses different as opposed to unique, but the obvious uniqueness is that you are working with people that you love. So you can quit your job whatever job you happen to be in, whether it's with your family or not. You can always quit your job, but you can't quit your family. You're stuck with them, right? My mother's my mother, my father's my father, my brother's my brother, and my child is my child. And it will always be that way, whether they're with you or your relationship's good or bad or otherwise. Now, there are similarities with, I'm going to call it partnerships. There are some partnerships, particularly law firms, accounting firms, advertising firms, architectural firms, where you have partners. You get a group of people that were in the trenches together, like brothers in arms, comrades in arms in war times, and they go along and they care so much for each other that they want to transition the business, but they want to make sure that they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings as they go through this process, because they want to maintain that relationship, and so on and so forth. Now, I used to work at IBM. And I had a boss, and my boss had a boss, and so on and so forth. There was the CEO of the company. CEO reports to a board, and the board is dictated by the shareholders, which can be individuals like you and me, or it can be large pension funds, so on and so forth. So there's really, while we have friends and we have good friends that we trust at work in a corporate world, we're not related to them. They're not our family. And so that is the unique thing is that you're working with people that you love. And that's what makes it so awkward.
So how do you groom the next generation?
Wow.
And if they don't want to be groomed, I guess that's even
And it's true. And let me preface that with something. Um, I believe in three basic tenets. There's much more to it, but in my book, Dirty Little Secrets of Family Business, there's three things that must occur for success. Three transactions, so to speak. The next generation has to be interested and capable. If somebody in the next generation is not interested or not capable, you obviously can't transition. It will fail. Number two is the current generation has to be willing to let the next generation get a hold of the wheel. They have to be willing to step back. They have to be willing to step out so that they can grab onto the wheel and get that experience of actually running the business while they're around. If you're going to pass the business off after you die and the next generation's never had any experience and they find themselves at 55, the business will fail. Number three is, okay, so the next generation's interested, dad's willing to step back or mom's willing to step back, let them step into the seat and get the experience. Can the next generation get along? Can they actually cooperate with each other, whether they're equals or they've decided, no, we think Sally needs to be the president and I'm going to be marketing and somebody else is going to be finance, and we're good with that. But they got to be able to work together, because if they can't, again, it will fall apart. The grooming part is having this conversation about we are a family business and this is the goose that lays the golden eggs, and while I love you, we need to go through a process of determining A, whether or not you're interested in doing this, and B, whether or not you're capable. I'm not the greatest teacher in the world. I'm going to do the best I can. But you need to have that understanding up front. The second piece is where a lot of family businesses go wrong, is they give them too much. They don't make them go through the hard path. They need to earn their stripes as they go into the business and grow up through the business. If you just drop into a vice presidency, it doesn't work, because you don't know what's underneath it, and you don't have the respect of the employees, and you don't really know what it takes to run the business if you haven't been in the trenches.